Have you ever walked into a grocery store, grabbed one pack of beef jerky and another pack of beef jerky, and one said gluten-free, and then one didn't, and you're like, I'm gonna get the gluten-free one? Well, guess what, guys? You just got scammed. We're gonna be talking about that and other ways on how food companies trick you. Stay tuned. Hey guys, it's Brian, also known as the 101 Mentor, and today we're going to talk about 5 ways on how food companies trick you, how they scam you. Now, if this is your first time here, know that I'm here to help you guys create a life you're proud of. We tackle the big buckets that really matter: relationship, career, health, wealth, mindset, and everything in between. And I also offer free mentoring by way of these YouTube videos. And if you have a question for me that you'd like me to answer, go to my website 101mentoring.com. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out when I do answer your question. Every time you hit that subscribe button, every time you hit that like button, it really means a lot to me. It supports my channel, it helps me out. I greatly appreciate it. Okay, let's get to the topic at hand. So I know that a lot of you guys who are starting out in your life, starting out in your career, money is tight, but it's also important that you eat properly, that you are fueling your body with nutritious, healthy foods that aren't filled with pesticides and contaminants. You really want to make sure that you're fueling your body so that you can get the best performance out of it, so that you can tackle your career, tackle your exercise at the gym, be there with your family and with your loved ones the best you can. And over the last several years, we've really seen a population that's really grown up to be very, very health conscious. They really care about the food that they put into their body. And there are a lot of companies out there that are really capitalizing on that are taking advantage of you. And because money is tight for you, or you can always use that money somewhere else, next vacation or to that new toy of yours, it's really important that you are saving money. It's really important that you aren't being scammed or misled. Many of you guys might not know, I have a lot of experience in the food industry, in the dietary supplement and natural health product industry. I have held leadership roles, executive roles. I've also done tons of consulting for other companies. I've seen how other companies work, seen a lot of the competition, and I know the tricks of the trade. I know how a lot of these companies do scam their consumers. So what gives? Why are companies doing that? Well, I can tell you that some companies are driven by the bottom line, getting as much market penetration as possible, and they don't really care about what they say or do in terms of their label, in terms of their packaging or advertisement. And I will say that a lot of these companies that do these types of tricks or scams, they come from big companies as well as small companies. A lot of these brands, depending on where they're at, are trying to cut costs or trying to save money for different reasons. For example, a small company, a small brand might not know any better. They don't know the regulations, they don't know the laws, they don't have regulatory support or the lawyers, they don't have the money for that to understand and know all the rules around marketing, around positioning, around branding and claims. And as a result, they just do whatever they want, they throw it out into the market. There's not some sort of screening process to prevent them from entering the market. So now you have a small company that's doing things technically not supposed to be doing. They're starting to get attention and steal market share away from the bigger companies. The bigger companies looks at that and they're saying, hey, how come they're not following the rules? Some big companies really do follow the rules, and they do, and they make every effort to. And you've got some other companies that elect not to. And it's really too bad, because who loses out? You do. And I think it's important for us to call them out, and that's why today I'm going to share 5 ways on how they are scamming you. So the first way that companies try to scam you is something called false uniqueness. I talked about the example at the very beginning of the video about someone buying some beef jerky, and one says gluten-free and the other one doesn't say anything at all. And the consumer, we just look at it and say, hey, this is gluten-free, it must be better. But guess what, guys? All beef jerky is gluten-free. It's like saying gluten-free water, right? It's like having one bottle of water saying gluten-free and another one not. You might lean towards the gluten-free version of it, but at the end of the day, water is water. There is no gluten in it. It's called false uniqueness. This is something that is very misleading that you are not supposed to be doing, but a lot of companies do that because they just don't know any better, or they elect not to follow the rules. Number 2 way in how companies try to scam you, if you look at this craze about protein powders, whether it's whey or maybe a vegan type protein, or maybe it's like a collagen protein powder, all very big categories right now. Remember, when you see the nutrition facts table, there's like a % daily value. That % daily value must be expressed when you're talking about protein. So if a product promises to deliver on protein, they need to express the % of daily value of protein. And that % of daily value is is calculated based on how much protein is absorbed into your body. Animal-based protein like whey goes into your body, whereas for vegetable proteins, not all of it gets absorbed. And it's really important to understand the difference between the two. You don't just look at the amount of grams of protein that's delivered on the product, but you're looking at how much is being absorbed. Therefore, you have to look at the percent DV, the percent daily value. Now, some companies don't know that, and all they do is they talk about how many grams of protein are in one scoop versus how much is actually absorbed, and it's really not fair to you. It doesn't matter how many grams of protein you're actually eating. Very little of it is actually being absorbed into your body, whereas another vegetarian or vegan type protein may have a combination of different types of protein sources. 80% or 60% of that is actually absorbed into your body. Really important to understand that versus just looking at the gram amount of protein that's promised in a scoop. Third way that food companies or supplement companies try to scam you is that they try to claim their product to be 100% natural or 100% pesticide free or to be 100% pure. And it's really important to distinguish the difference between 100% or pesticide free versus doesn't contain or doesn't have it. Now, it's really important to understand what 100% natural means. It means that everything, 100% of the entire product is actually natural. But if you look at the ingredients, if you look at what goes into the manufacturing of those ingredients, there might be some additives in there. There might be some excipients in the ingredients to help it flow through the manufacturing process a little bit better, to flow through the equipment better. Or if people want to say pesticide free, again, how are they validating that claim? How are they proving that? Chances are they're not. All they're doing is they're saying, well, if I take my ingredient list and I look at that, there's no pesticides in there. I'm not putting any pesticides into the product. Sure, but what if pesticides are somehow getting into the product some other way? Maybe it's grown on the same farm where one farm is right next to another farm and the farm that it's beside uses pesticides and somehow that gets contaminates the other farm. There could be all those types of sources, but are they actually looking into that? We don't know, but it's really important for you to understand that when you see some claim like that, that's so promising, almost over-promising, you should be a little bit cautious about it. Now, the fourth way that companies try to scam you, and this is really common in the dietary supplement space, especially sport performance, bodybuilding performance arena, they like to say that their products are clinically studied. And they say that studied, meaning that it was some sort of clinical trial or in some sort of scientific journal article, but it gives the impression that it may be seen as clinically proven, which are completely different types of terminology. They do mean different things. When you say clinically proven, it means it was put in a clinical trial and actually shown to be better than a placebo, whereas clinically studied just means that they studied it. It makes no difference whether it was better than placebo or not. It's really important for you to pick up on that language by using the word clinically studied to give the impression, oh, it must be clinically proven, when in fact it wasn't. All right, and this takes us to the fifth way as to how food companies trick you, and that is they present their product as safe to consume. They're typically saying organic food is safer to eat than non-organic or conventional foods, or perhaps product X is safer than product Y. Well, guess what? All food in the market, in the supply chain, has to be safe by law. All food needs to be safe for the consumers, otherwise it wouldn't be in the market to begin with. So it's actually misleading for a company to say that their product is safer than another product. It's very similar to the false uniqueness thing we were talking about earlier. You just can't do that. You cannot present your product to be safer than another. If another product wasn't safe, well, guess what? It's not allowed in the market to begin with. So when you guys see this on the label, definitely have those antennas up. Know that your money is probably not going into actually getting a better product. All they're doing is just branding it differently or marketing it differently, and they're technically not allowed to say that. What does that say about the company? They may be positioning themselves as a more wholesome, better, high quality product, when in fact they aren't, because they haven't put the investment in to actually understand what the laws are, what the regulations say, what you can or cannot do. So there you go, guys. Hopefully I've got you all thinking. Now, like I said, I've got tons of industry insider advice. I've got lots of experience in this space. I understand the regulations, I understand the laws, and I also help companies do things the right way. Now, if you happen to stumble upon this video because you're thinking about starting up your own brand, starting up your own company, know that I offer a course on how to start up your own dietary supplement or food company up the right way. It's a live one-on-one session. I give you guys the entire rundown on how to do this the right way. It's a complete overview, and then we go into specifics, and I can also support you ongoing from there. Guys, if you like today's video, please hit that like button. Please subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. It would really help the algorithm. And of course, if you have a question you want me to answer in a future video, go to my website, 101mentoring.com. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.